Hello everybody, John here with Shooting Tips and Tricks, and today we're going to be taking another shot at the lathe turned bullets. But this time we're going to be gearing up for Halloween with some silver bullets. And yes, you may have guessed, but these are some pieces of silver round bar here. We have this one is a .375 diameter, and this one is a 1/4 inch diameter, or .250. Now what we're going to be working with today is the larger one, the 375, and we're going to be making some 357 bullets. And we're going to shoot for a little bit lighter ones, like 125 grain. So we'll take this guy and turn it from 375 down to 357. So we won't have too much waste with this guy. And we're just going to do a conventional hollow point bullet. Alright, well with that being said, we'll head over to the lathe and start working on this guy. Alright, now we got our round stock set up in the lathe here, and we have a minimum stick out because given the softness of silver, it'll love to vibrate if I stick out too much. So now I've already touched off my tool on both surfaces and zeroed out my dials because we want to minimize our waste on here, and we don't have a lot to work with. But given that we're working with silver, we want to minimize the amount of waste we have. So now what we're going to start out with is we're going to move up here a ways to our overall length and take and cut a relief, and that's where we're going to part it off of the stock. And then after that we'll touch off on it again while it's running just to confirm our zero on the diameter. And then we'll start to profile it down to the 357 diameter. Alright, now our first pass we took off about 15 thousandths, which should put us pretty close to our target diameter. I'll just check it here real quick. That's what you call luck. We hit 357 right on the head. Alright, now we'll switch over to the tailstock and cut out our hollow point. Alright, now we got our hole drilled, and we'll switch over to our other bit to cut the opening for the hollow point, or rather the taper. Now for that I'm going to be using this center drill here. And it just has a steep taper, and it works good for the appropriate hollow point taper. Alright, now that that's done, we'll switch over to our other bit and cut the taper for the front of the bullet. Now in this one we're going to be cutting on the back side, so we'll have to put the lathe in reverse. Alright, now that I've got that done, we'll take and change our head over and cut a little cantilever on it, and then after that we'll be ready to part it off of the stock. Alright, now we got our cantilever cut out on it, and I gave it a quick polish too to take off some of the roughness. Now normally what I would do is just use the parting tool and cut it right off, but given how soft silver is and that it loves to gull, you run a high chance of it just breaking off or coming off crooked, and any contact with that soft silver is going to damage the surface, leave a dent, scrape, or whatever on it. So instead of using the parting tool, I'm just going to use this little hacksaw and cut it off by hand. And it'll also reduce the amount of weight, since the hacksaw takes about 30 thousandths less than even my smallest parting tool, which is a 1/16 of an inch. So we'll cut this guy off, and then we'll trim up the back side of it. There we go. Short little fall generally doesn't do any harm to them, but usually I like to stop right before it breaks loose. But this guy didn't give me much warning. So, see, we got a little bit of a rough backside, and we'll clean that up here in a minute. Alright, now we got it all set up here for the rest of the cut. Now again, since silver is so soft, and well, it's generally not a problem that it's so soft, is that it does not work harden at all. So the surface of the metal is just as soft as the inside, as opposed to most other metals like aluminum and steels and even copper that'll work harden right away on the surface. And that protects it against marring and all that, but silver, you don't have that. So if we were to take and chuck it right up into here to cut the backside, it's gonna damage the surface of the material. So I have these little cloth sleeves here that I just slide over them. And that gives us a little bit of protection on the bullet, so we can chuck it into the lathe without damaging the surface or even scraping it. We just tighten it the minimal amount to get a good hold. Now we'll take and touch off our bit here. We'll take and zero our dial off so we know how much material we're removing. Now we got down to good material there, and I did several passes and really light ones because we have the minimal hold on the bullet. So now we'll take it out of here and we'll go over to the scale and see what our weight's sitting at. Now we're in our reloading room here, and we got our bullet. We'll let our scale here zero out nicely and make sure it stays there. Let's see what we're sitting at. Oh, go back to zero. Now that's pretty close right off the bat. That's 125, and we have just a 46, 48, a little bit over, and this is in hundredths of a grain too. So we're going to need a very minimal cut to bring this down to the appropriate weight. Alright, now we'll head back over to the lathe and we'll give it a quick shave and see how close we can get it. Alright, now we're set back up in the lathe here, and after doing a couple of these in the past, I've found that that 1/1000th of an inch on a 357 rounds out to around half a grain. So that's going to be about how much we remove off the back of this guy. And then after that, we're going to cut a little chamfer on the back of it just to make for ease of loading. So we'll take and touch off our tool here. We'll make sure our dial is zeroed so we know exactly how much we're taking off. Alright, now we got that cut. Now we can put the lathe in reverse and just switch over to the opposite side and cut our little chamfer. See, it came out nice and clean on there. Now we'll run over to the scale and hopefully we'll be sitting pretty close to 125 on the dot. Alright, now we're back over here in the reloading room, and we got our bullet. And luckily our scale is holding at 0. So one downside of these precision scales is they hate any little minimal interference. So that's why they'll keep on jumping randomly. 124.9. Come on, even out there. 9.4. So we're sitting about half of a tenth below 125, which is well within our tolerances. Most production bullets are around 3/10 or so, or 30 hundredths. So with a production bullet, I've seen them as low. So if we had a production bullet that was a 125, I would be well within understanding to see them as low as the 124/70s or as high as 125/20. So we're well within our tolerances for a accurate bullet. And as it evens out, it's getting a little bit closer. So we're pretty darn close for just taking a shot at it. Usually it takes me a few more passes to get them. Alright, well I think I'll end our video here. We got it all cut out and set up just right for shooting. Now I will say I will not be shooting this bullet because they're being made for a customer. So if it was my own project, then I'd definitely take it out to the range and see how it does. And just make sure to catch the sucker. Alright, so as always, if you guys liked it, there's a button down there. If you didn't like it, well, there's a button down there. Anything you want to add, let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.